there are more and more moments in my experience, so to say, where I'm clear of what I am, of where the attachment, of the confusion of myself with this story as a human being falls away. It happens for me regularly, but always a little bit different. And each time I recognize more and more the illusion or the qualities of the illusion and how it is keeping you trapped. And while I'm speaking here, I want to speak as directly from this place of being aware that I'm awareness as I can. And once you realize what you are, you also realize how difficult it is to distill that experience through this means of communication that we use, which are words. And really to try to express something in words that will trigger for you a similar experience, or something that is giving you the answer to the search that you're on, is, I think, something humanity has struggled with basically since the first humans that had these experiences. But nonetheless, if I speak from what is my immediate experience and how it feels to go in and out of these states of being pure momentary awareness, it is almost as if you know nothing. It is so ridiculous to realize that all the efforts, everything you do on the so-called spiritual path is really completely unnecessary in a certain sense. Because while there is some valid experience that you have through different means like meditation or contemplation, they will never be able to really give you the experience or the knowing that you are awareness. And while it is in spirituality a problem that the teachings seem so fine-tuned, delicate, and somehow pointing to something so vast or huge or this grand experience, the reality is it is really not. And from my understanding, it's only done so in certain kind of teachings, or it's presented that way in certain teachings, because they want to appeal to the tendencies of the mind to search for experiences that are yielding great feelings. And those experiences are usually of some grand dimension, of some grand kind, like some really meaningful stuff. And they try to co-opt that, so to say, in order to get you hooked on the idea that you actually want this enlightenment. But the funny thing is, when you fall into this, or let's say not fall, when the illusion that's keeping you from realizing awareness as your true self, when that falls away, there really was never anything else. There was only illusion keeping you from realizing that. And as the definition of illusion is that it's not true, it means there was never anything that really kept you from being what you are. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. It's really this whole human form that you are identified with at the moment. That whole form really can never know anything. Not in the real sense, not in the true sense. Because what it can know is only, and that's also true, it can know relations of different kind of experiences, of different objects to each other. And while we cannot deny that this is all going on, that this is happening, when you realize that you are pure awareness, this all is completely free of any inherent substance. It's what it is, basically. And once you realize that it's really a joke, because it has never been different, but you have been blind to it. And then you have to go through this whole process. For me, it has been like 10 years looking for this mystical term, enlightenment. But yeah, it's a beautiful journey. But once you realize, and once you have realized it, and once your mind knows that it's only the illusion, it's over. Then it's really over. Because what I mean by that this human existence cannot know anything is that it cannot know itself as awareness. And the whole time you are trying to do that, you're contemplating, you want to answer your contemplations in thoughts, in words, with some kind of concrete, like, yeah, that's it, that's the answer. And it's never going to be the case. That's not possible, because while this experience that we are having as human beings, while it is nothing other than awareness, it is only a fluctuation in awareness. It's only the content. Awareness is the only thing that's aware of awareness. Awareness is self-aware. It's as you are there right now, you are self-aware. And usually that's something, when you start on the spiritual process, on the spiritual journey, is something we don't want to accept. We come to the spiritual path, and this is a very broad category here. There are different reasons why people come to spiritualization, but in the general category, people that are searching for this are fed up with the constant grasping for objects. They have somehow realized that in this relative world, nothing will give them lasting satisfaction. That somehow everything that you have done so far was kind of a waste. That you desire things, you look for them, you search them out, you get them into your life. And as soon as you get them, your mind projects that desire onto something else. And you never arrive. And somehow you intuit that with spirituality that might be different. But as you are so stuck in that mindset, spirituality promises you to be this next grand achievement. Enlightenment is this great end goal to achieve. But really the process, and many people hate to hear that, but the process is the exact opposite. It's going to rob you of all of your desires. It's going to take away everything that you ever wanted, in a sense. And then that's the freedom. In that freedom from desire, you find the happiness that you're looking for. But then also it's on a different level, because the awareness itself is never touched by any of these objects of experience, by anything that you do in this world. So you might still have the tendencies to fulfill your desires after you're quote-unquote enlightened. But you don't have to. I mean, you are completely free. You are free to then fulfill all of your dreams, live in the dream, live them out. But usually by that point, you have gotten rid of most of those desires, at least so far, that you don't do stupid shit anymore, that's really like not productive for your life. So what awareness is doing, or what the realization of being awareness is doing, is putting an end to that constant search for fulfillment and lasting happiness in the small things, in the relative achievements we can have in this life. That's what being in the knowing of awareness is putting an end to. Because from that, you know that your true self can never be made any more whole by anything that you do. And so you rest in that awareness of being aware. And that's enough for you. That's the beauty. It's just it. And this human existence, this human intellect that we have, can never know what it is. Being aware, being enlightened, is not going to give you a mental model for why the world exists. It doesn't solve any questions, really. It doesn't, not in a relative sense. It doesn't give you the answer to why is there an earth? Why am I on this earth? Why are there other people? Why anything? Because none of that matters from the perspective of awareness. From the perspective of awareness, this is all here out of love, out of enjoyment, out of pure... It feels like entertainment, really. When you look at this world, at this experience, at this very moment from awareness, it's just pure love. It's created out of... The beauty is created out of your own light, out of the light of awareness, because it wanted to see itself for what it is. And that might be an answer for you, or it might not be, depending on how you are wired, on what answer you're actually looking for. That's another topic, probably, because answers are really... or questions and answers in spirituality are really something completely different from questioning something in the quote-unquote real world. Yeah, but from awareness point of view, this, and this might help you, I hope, this human existence cannot know anything. And I would approach, if I had to do it probably over again, my whole journey, I would approach it more from that perspective. Dropping again and again, over and over again, everything, every thought, and not try to build up any spiritual knowledge. But who knows, maybe that's not how it works. For me, at least, it is now the case that I realized, or it's completely obvious, that this human intellect cannot know awareness. It cannot know enlightenment. And if you think you do, you have so thoroughly deluded yourself that it's really painful, because I have been there. Because then you are so deluded that you have to break that illusion as well in order to arrive at nothingness, emptiness, awareness, whatever you want to call it, because anything else that you think you know, you can grasp, you can intellectualize is not it. And that's the double-edged sword, because what else are we doing here? We have to use this channel of communication here in order to somehow elicit something for you, in you. And that's how it works usually, but it comes with a lot of traps. And awareness itself is just none of that. It's not influenced by any of it. And as frustrating as that sounds, as it is for you, maybe, to hear that you are already it, that you are already awake, in a sense, yeah, that's totally true. From the point of view of being awake. It's so fucked up in a sense. It's really twisted, but that's what comes to mind when I experience this. Because in a sense, it's always that, but in another sense, it's very often, or at least when I look back into my past, it was very often so entangled in confusion, in illusion, that it has sorely confused itself, so to speak. So the story, this awareness becomes so absorbed in parts of the story, in aspects of, especially of the intellect, of wanting to know stuff, of wanting to explain and think and do all of these things in the world, that it loses sight of itself. And that's totally fine for most people. That's also something awareness has the capacity to do, to lose itself in the story. And so every person is completely free. And the only, you could say, meaning or the only purpose of waking up is in your experience, in you wanting to wake up. But it's no more meaningful than you wanting to have sex, or you wanting to become a doctor, or you wanting to being a lawyer. It's, if you want it, you want it. If you don't want it, you don't want it. It's perfectly fine, everything. Awareness is so completely free. Nobody has to be saved here or helped, or because that's also the thing. Awareness and so quote-unquote enlightenment is realizing, once it's happening, it's if you wake up, everyone else also wakes up with you. Because in a sense there's only awakeness, and if awakeness, as the story of other people, decides to experience the life of a human being, of being completely absorbed in the illusion of being that and not emptiness, awareness, in the illusion, and it wants to live as the illusion of being a limited being, it has the power to do so, and that's perfectly fine. So nobody has to be saved or awoken. If you want it, it's perfectly fine. That's why we're here for. It's to give you that not experience, if you want, to give you that end of all illusion. It's perfectly fine, but it's also there's no necessity to wake up all human beings. So yeah, approach your spirituality, if I want to sum all of this up, approach your spirituality from a deep sense of not knowing anything about it intellectually. or at least of admitting that all intellectual knowledge isn't it. And so whatever you think a spiritual teaching, even if it's really worthwhile and legit, take it for what it is, but look for the truth behind it and not for the intellectual knowledge of it. I hope that helps you. And if you want more specific and really some coaching that's tuned to your specific situation, because here in these videos you have to realize I have to really speak in broad terms to address not you specifically, but the situation like most people are in, or what I think most people are in. But from the coaching so far, I have seen that it's really something we can tailor to your situation. And in me asking you what your current situation is, my advice is usually much more helpful in your specific situation. And so if that's something you consider, don't hesitate, write me an email. We can talk about your situation, and then we will see if coaching is something that is something for you, or if it's not. And so, yeah, we will find that out together. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.